All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, hello, it's your buddy Mr. G again. We're going to do a little bit more Pixlr this week. Right now, we are going to go into our program. We're going to make sure you're logged in, so you got your name up here. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure I click on Pixlr E for the editor. That's going to launch that guy. Okay. Let's go on here today, and why don't we go, and we're going to go right over here to the left. You'll see this, it says stock search. Okay, that's going to take us to some free images that we can play around with. Let's see if we can find an image we can play around with. Okay, let's see here. So it says Tokyo here. Why don't we type in Japan? Okay, you may not get exactly the same images as I get. Let's see here. I'm going to take this picture right here where it's Tsukushima Shrine in Japan, and make sure you're grabbing that one. There's another one up here. It kind of looks like it. It's another picture of the same shrine, but it's got like a kind of a dusty, warm gray in the background. I want this one with a nice blue here. So you just click on that, and Pixlr is going to open it up in our image. Now, it can have Ultra HD, Full HD, or Web. As some of you guys are working on Chromebooks, they don't have huge amounts of memory. Let's go ahead and just take this on Web because we're just playing around right now. And that number you see right there is the number of pixels per inch resolution size that we're going to see, okay? So we'll go ahead and push apply, and that's going to open that picture up into our image. Okay, so we're in the Pixlr interface here now. All right, so we talked about our tools up here. Here's our toolbar. Here's our options for the tool we have in our hand. And then we have over here, we've got our layers and our history where we can undo with Command Z, Control Z, and we can undo any mistakes that we do. So one of the most powerful things of digital art is Control Z to undo your mistakes. Okay. All right. So first, let's go on here, and we're going to unlock this, and we are going to make a duplicate of this layer right here. Duplicate layer. Okay. We're going to have that right there just so we have one that we can play around with. All right. So some of the tools we're going to talk about today. All right. So we've got some selection tools up here. I've got the marquee tool. I've got the magic wand tool, and I've got the lasso tool, and I've got the cutout and mask tool. Okay, we'll get into those at a later date. We'll spend more time on those just so you know what they are. They are for making selections and cutting things out. What we're going to start with today, we're going to start with the crop tool. Okay, so I'm going to take the crop tool here. I'm going to go ahead and poke out the eye of my second one here, behind here. Make sure you're on this top layer. Make sure you have it highlighted right over here where it says background copy. Okay, now what the crop tool does, as you hold over it, it says trim, cut, and straighten the canvas by free or fixed aspect, just like you do with your photos on your phone and with little phone apps. Same thing here, where we can crop this in and change the whole format of the canvas here. Okay, so if I want to zoom in a little bit more, I would do that, and you could either apply. If you don't like it, you can set reset, but it works like that. You'll notice when I grab that and pull it in, it has a grid over top of it. So if you need to center things, you need to use a 2-3 grid aspect. That's what that is referring to there. For the rule of 2/3, putting things not directly centered all the time. Let's go ahead and take that, and we'll put apply, and you'll notice that it resizes our image, okay, on that layer. Now, we can take that layer, and you still see the handles there, all cropped in there, but now we are cropped, okay, because we cropped the actual canvas. Okay, so that is what the crop tool does. The next tool we're going to look at here is right below the crop tool is this little wavy guy here. It says it's the liquify tool. You can grow, shrink, push apart the image, okay? What it does, it's easier to show you than it is to actually explain it. So if I go in here with my liquify tool, it's got a brush head on it there. See, anything that has a round dab is a brush. So if it has a round brush, you can resize it, okay? Up here, it's got some different methods and everything, and I say we will talk about that. Let's just go ahead and jump in here with this. Now, what the liquify tool does, it pushes things around. Like if the whole painting was a wet oil painting and we could just take it and smush it around. Okay, I'm going to make this really big so you can kind of see it here. If I take that, it's going to take and push those pixels around. So that's what the liquify tool does, okay? Obviously, you could really muck up your picture pretty easily if you weren't careful with this. Command Z, we're going to undo that. But that has some different options here. So you can push, I can enlarge, I can shrink or pucker. This is kind of a cool one there. So you do that and it kind of brings it into the center so that it kind of pulls and puckers things in. This is the same way that those apps that you play with people's faces do to make big buggy eyes and put, like poodle eyes on certain people. The same way, same tool, okay? So we got swirl right and swirl left. Now these usually I click at one time if you want to kind of pull things to a left or a right. And we can go the other way with it as well. But again, you can kind of muck up your picture very quickly with this if you're not careful. So you're moving a whole layer of pixels with that, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and go back up to here. So we'll kind of go, let's see, how about right up to, let's go here. Oh, here. There. All right. So we'll go back to there. I just undid back there by going to my history panel. So that's the liquify tool. That's what that does. All right. So a couple ways that we can hide blemishes and take things out of photos. You always hear something, oh, that's photoshopped. We did something. We made the model look younger or made him look thinner or more muscular. So ways that we alter pictures. Here's one. So it's called the heal tool, okay? When you click on it, it says remove spots, unwanted objects, blemishes, and clean up the object. This is called the blemish tool in the Photoshop. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here, get my hand tool, and kind of move in here. I'm going to focus right over here. Let's see this little barge thing or little pier that's sticking out here. Let's say we wanted to get rid of that. So if I go here with my blemish tool, and again, it's got a brush head. It's a circle with that plus sign in there. So that means it's got a size gauge that you can make it bigger or smaller. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit smaller here. Make it about 25, okay? And what it does, if I go in here and just click on this, it's going to take the information around this image here, and it is going to simply kind of blur it out and make the image disappear based on what is around it. Okay, so that's what the blemish tool does. Okay, it's got patch and it's got infill. So let's go Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. It's going to let me go back there. And they work similar, but you can see it kind of leaves, infill kind of leaves a bit more of a blurry thing. So it kind of depends on what you are doing, okay? So I tend to want the patch more so. But that's what that does, okay? So that is one way we can use this tool to take things out, okay? And again, it's got size, so in the closer we get in, the better we can see what we're doing. So you see I've got a little bit of an antenna in there, and you can go all the way down to the pixel with this. So if I go way down, so I have a very small image here, I can take out little tiny details like that. Okay, I hit Command 0 to put it back at full screen. Let's talk about our next tool here. We've got the clone tool. Okay, clone tool. hover over it, it says draw and copy from another area on the image. Now this one's a little hard to get your head wrapped around here. Okay, so we're going to do a couple examples. So I'm going to zoom in, get my hand tool by pressing the space bar, clicking and dragging up over here. Okay, let's say we've got this little buoy antenna sticking up out of the water there, right? So we want that to go away. So if I want that to go away, I could use the blemish tool and go in there, but it kind of, when we use that blemish tool, like I said, sometimes it kind of gives us a fuzzy feeling. And I want that water to look like water. I don't want it to look like somebody came in and airbrushed it out. So I'll put Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. We're going to try the clone tool, okay? Clone tool is, what it does is it says it's going to copy from another area, okay? Now, if you look up here to the top in our, remember our toolbar and then our option bar, we have paint and source, okay? When you hit the shift button, you can always switch between those options. So you got source. When you first grab this paint tool, what you have to do is set a source. They call it a clone source, okay? What that means is, where are you going to pull information from? So let's go up here so I can illustrate it, just because it's high contrast up here. So if I go here, let's do it over here. If I go up here and I click one time, that switches from the source to the paint, okay? So that, where I clicked right there, is going to set that as the clone source. Now what that means, now that it's on paint, that when I paint, you'll see the target that shows where it's painting from, and it's just going to mimic that out wherever, as long as I paint down. Okay? Again, if I go back to source and I click my source right here, it'll switch to paint. And then again, it'll copy that area right there. So that's how that works. Okay? So let's use that tool, and we're going to go down and we're going to use this area right over here to paint over this antenna to make it disappear. Dry. Close my ad on Comfy Garden Sleepers there. Okay, so we're going to go down here. We're going to switch back to source again. I'm going to click on this water right here. I'm going to use this water to cover up this antenna here. Okay, so I click there, and then I'll go over here. My clone source is set. You see it went from source to paint up in the options bar, and I can paint that right there. And now I have a perfect copy of the water painted right over there, and it looks perfect. Okay, very cool. All right, let's stop there. You'll take a screenshot. It should look similar to what I have on my screen. Remember, if you are on a Mac, it is the Command Shift plus the number 3 to take a screenshot. If you are on Windows, you just hit the print screen button. And if you are on a Chromebook, you are going to hit the Control plus the show window key, which is right above your 6 and 7 there, that little square with the little block on it. Okay, so make sure you're taking screenshots of these. At the end of the week, we'll upload these all for grade. Have a super day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.